Hi, everyone. Want to give you a quick kind of summary of how you can participate in tonight's school budget information meeting. Just to kind of review, the school budget information meeting is something that we're legally obligated to hold prior to any school budget vote. And in this case, we're going to be holding it today in anticipation of in-person voting happening on Tuesday. But absentee voting has been happening for a while, and we encourage you, in conjunction with the town clerk's office, to pursue that option as much as possible, both for the safety of your fellow voters and citizens and for the safety of the poll workers. So, but tonight's meeting is just an opportunity. We'll briefly review the budget again, primarily spending our time talking about the things that we reduced since the last budget. And then we'll have an opportunity for people to ask questions, citizens to ask questions about what is part of the budget process, or not the process, but what is in the budget this time around. And there's probably also an opportunity to ask some questions about COVID stuff as well. So let me take you through the remote options first. There are two, which is to join us through video conference through the platform Google Meet, and then Google Meet also allows people to call in as well, and that will allow you to hear what's being discussed and also to contribute. Please know that whether you're coming in person, and we'll talk about the in-person part second. If you're coming in person, or if you're going to be online, then one of the things we need to do is we have to verify that you are a voter in Springfield. And so please, as much as you can, arrive on time, whether that is virtually or in person, so that we have the ability to go through that process with you prior to the session. All right, so let's take a look at, if you're going to, we'll go in sequence, we'll go where you can find the listing for the meeting, how you can get into it as a video conference, and how you can get into it as phone, and then we'll talk about what does the in-person situation look like as well. All right, let's check them out. Okay, so tonight there's a couple different ways you can participate in the information session. There is a remote opportunity, which we're encouraging folks to take, and there is an in-person opportunity with social distancing. Because of the nature of the concerns around health, there will be only a few school officials on site for the actual meeting. Most will be joining us remotely for parts of presentations or ability to answer questions for folks. But I will be in attendance, and maybe one or two other school staff members, and then a board member or two will also be present. But everybody will be joining us remotely. If you choose to join us remotely, there's two different ways you can do that. So why don't we start with, okay, so let's take you through how to find the listing and how finding that listing can help you get into either the video or phone portion of the information session. So we'll start by going to our website, ssdvt.org. That will pull up the district website for you. If you scroll down, you'll get into some of the latest news around the district, some things that we've been posting. And then at the very bottom, our feeds for social media. But in the middle here in this green section is our upcoming list of upcoming events. And here is tonight's school budget hearing. Please remember the school budget vote, if you're going to in-person vote, which again, we encourage you to do absentee, but if you want to do in-person vote on June 16th, there'll be in-person voting available at the normal times at Riverside Middle School Gymnasium. Tonight, from 6 to 7, the in-person location will be Riverside Gym as well. And then here are the two ways in which you can participate remotely. So let's click in and quickly look at how this is set up. Two different ways for you to be part of the video chat, the online video chat connected with this. You would highlight this. We'll see if we can make that clickable later today. But you would highlight this, copy it, and then I'm going to go up to here. I'm going to put in, or I could type this in if I wanted to, up here, and enter. And now this gets me into the opening part of the Google just before I'm kind of in the entryway, getting ready to walk into the meeting. So this just tells me before I go in, it tells me that my microphone is on. I could turn it off if I wanted to. My video, my camera is on. I could turn it off if I wanted to. And we would encourage you, because it is a public meeting, and to to have your video on. So that one, we have to identify you as a registered voter, but also just so that your fellow citizens can see who you are, and also everyone can see each other's kind of facial expressions when people are raising their hand to ask for an opportunity to ask a question or to speak. So we would ask that if at all possible, you have your video your video camera on. Other thing you'll see here is this just tells me that it's picking up my audio and then I'm good to go. So I would join the meeting. I wouldn't be presenting, I'd be joining the meeting. Once you get in, you see a screen like this. I'm the only person in here right now, but if other people were here, you'd see a variety of other faces as well. So, and what I would encourage you to do is down along the bottom here, you still have throughout the course of the meeting the ability to turn off your microphone or on, to turn on or off your camera, and to leave the meeting if you wanted to. In addition, over here, when you get to more options, if you click on more options, then you're going to get a chance to change the layout of your screen. And this will give you a couple of different ways to do this. Sometimes this is just set on auto. You could have it where the main person who's talking, in this case me, would have a whole big part of the screen, and you just have a few people down the side. You could have what we have right now, which is the spotlight feature, where the whole screen would be occupied by the speaker, or you could have it tiled, where it's kind of like the Brady Bunch. You're going to see all the different people who are in the meeting, and you'll be able to all be more like you're sitting there with those folks. So, all right, and then you'd be in. Again, we would be hoping that you'd be joining the meeting, prior to 6 o'clock, because we have to go through that process of identifying registered voters, and then off we would go. The moderator would take us through a presentation from the school district, and then which would focus on primarily the things that have changed since the last budget, and then after that, then we would go to we would move to questions from the audience concerning whatever people might have specifically about the school budget. So there's one way. Let's look at the way in which you can come in through your telephone real quick. All right. All right. To go through the phone, we go right back to what we were doing before. This time, we're back to the district website. We're back down to the school budget hearing. I'll click on that. And here are two things that I need to do to join by phone. It would be to dial this particular phone number right here. And then once I dial that number, I'm going to be prompted for a PIN. And this would be the PIN number that I would enter. And at the end of that PIN, I would use the pound or the hashtag button when I was prompted. That if you try that out earlier today, it's going to say the meeting is not yet started or ready, or it's too soon, but it will work as we get closer to the actual meeting time itself. So let's take a look at what that looks like when you punch that in your phone and what you're going to hear and what you're going to see. So let's go. All right, so let's check out how to do this real quickly in terms of the phone. I'm going to use the number from the listing. 465658. I'm going to put it on speaker for you so you can hear what we get.
Welcome to Google Meet. Enter the meeting PIN followed by the pound key.
And we're going to go ahead and enter in our meeting PIN.
Thank you. You're joining a call with one other person.
So I apologize for the feedback. I apologize that we created a feedback loop in that, but to get the idea, you would be this icon with a portion of your phone number, not your whole phone number, so you're not in a position where you have to worry about people copying down your number and hassling you, but a portion of your number. and then when you called in, we would then work to identify you, work on the voter rolls, make sure that that we had properly identified you as a registered voter in the town, and off we go. So, and again, that's going to be easier if people are logging into the meeting prior to the 6 o'clock start. So it would be a lot easier if you're about 5:45, something like that, similar to what you would do if you're showing up for an in-person meeting. With that in mind, why don't we take a look at what the in-person meeting options would look like. So once you do that, here's what happens. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna mute this so I don't create feedback. But we're gonna dial into that number.
Welcome to Google Meet. Enter the meeting pin followed by the pound key.
And we're gonna go ahead and enter in our meeting pin.
Thank you. You're joining a call with one other person.
So I apologize for the feedback. I apologize if it created a feedback loop in that, but to get the idea, you would be this icon with a portion of your phone number, not your whole phone number, so you're not in a position where you have to worry about people people copying down your number and hassling you, but a portion of your number. And then when you called in, we would then work to identify you, work on the voter rolls, make sure that that we had properly identified you as a registered voter in the town, and off we go. So, and again, that's going to be easier if people are logging into the meeting prior to the 6 o'clock start. So it would be a lot easier if you're about 5:45, something like that, similar to what you would do if you're showing up for an in-person meeting. With that in mind, why don't we take a look at what the in-person meeting options would look like.